Hello, 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 everyone. Good morning. How is everyone doing today? Hope everyone is prepared better than me. It's been a rough morning with the doggies so far, but I am here. So let's see. Good morning, Jacob. Good morning, Wavy. Good morning, Davy. Wavy and Davy back to back. Future strong. They're just waiting for the open to start selling. I think they'll continue in strength. We'll talk about that. Canada national inflation hit 6.7 in March versus 6.1 estimated. There's your inflation's not easing up. Good morning, options 22. Can't pass Netflix, Fang, and down 65%. What do you mean can't pass Netflix? We'll see what that's we'll see what that is. Again, we'll have to watch that at the open. Good morning, Christoph. Good morning, Ken. Good morning, George. Netflix down after Jan 20th earnings has never returned. Might be looking at something similar. It could be a long time. Well, but I'm not into predictions. We're just gonna once it opens, I'm gonna put up the gap plays. It'll probably be posted on Twitter. I'm not expecting anything of a major gap play today, unless we get a nice little short-term bottoming pattern or something. But then that gap might stick around for quite a while. Let's see where we sit. By the way, with earnings this morning, we just one I was watching was Procter Gamble. That was a major one I was looking at, which came in better than expected. By the way, if you are new here, please do consider subscribing, ringing that bell, and hitting the like button. Longer term viewers, please like the videos and come back and leave some comments. So let's see where we sit now. Today's economic calendar. Hold on. Gotta hit the little refresh here. Remember, we have coming out in just under an hour existing home sales. Mortgage applications, a pretty big drop in that. Looks like the housing market could be starting to roll over. We got two Fed speakers at 9:30 Central Time, which can definitely move the markets. If they say something really shocking, but the markets are already saying, hey, we could even take a 75 basis point hike. Crude numbers out at also 9:30 Central, and then the beige book at 1 p.m. Central. Let's see, FMOC, it's over 90%, which the 50 basis points is fully baked in. Now 95%, so that doesn't matter. And we're still slightly in negative gamma territory, but this strong opening should pop us back to positive gamma territory. What does that mean? That means for hedging now, on a continued rally, hedging has to be sold into, and on dips, hedging has to be bought into. So it's counter. Remember, negative gamma amplifies, positive gamma deadens the moves. So it doesn't mean you can't still have good, strong moves up. It just means it has that dampening effect. So you could see a little less potential follow through. All right, S&P. Again, I'm watching for continued follow through up to this next harmonic that we put on yesterday evening at 44.81, just right in front of it, right there. So beyond that, continued rally. 44.93 to 44.95. That's a 50% retracement of this sell-off move and the harmonic. So keep that in mind. That's strong. On a pullback, I'm watching now for roughly if we do pull back a bit, I'm going to key off the 1 hour rotation zone and about this 12.5% harmonic. That's the area on a pullback that I'm focusing on. You see, that's the bottom of the 15-minute rotation zone. The top of the 1 hour rotation zone. If we did drop below that, the next major support roughly comes in about 44.58, and then we're back down to about 44.51. So those are the levels upside and downside I'm watching. If it gets through this next cluster area, which you also have this little pausing topping area, the next major target up is not till 45.26, which is the 62.5% of this sell-off. And remember, a close above that, not expecting it today, but a close above that would be a continued favors statistically a continued rallies to this high area. Keep in mind also just in front of This 44.93, 44.95 area is the 200. So, and there's a lot of people that will pay attention to that. So that is an area definitely from my perspective to raise up stops, or if it's a short-term play, take some partial profits off the table from the long side. Nasdaq, let's see here. Let's see where we sit with the Nasdaq coming up to this cluster area. So you see here, we had the next target of about 14,307. When it's like that, I really key off the 14,300 area. We got to 14,298. Pretty much the same thing, watching the 1 hour rotation zone and about the 12.5% retracement going into the open, 14,225. And then that would also be with your 15-minute you see here into the 15-minute rotation zone. So that's my rotation plays for the morning. If we did get the bigger pullback, my next key area would be coming in at about 14,160, 14,157, 160. And I'd watch that with a connection with the 4 hour rotation zone. And then below that, I'm going to 14,115. The Dow you see coming up, breaking above this little short-term congestion. There is actually a mini clear path move up to about 35,200. We had 35,009 from the levels that we put out last night, just stopping in front of it. So for the Dow at this point, I'm just watching pullback to about 34,900, 34,895. If we drop below that, I'm about 34,842. There's a fair amount of support in here on the Dow, and then below that about 34,766. On a bigger pullback below that, see, that's also the rising 4 hour rotation zone. So this is really key. If it starts getting into that, that would not be good for the Dow, and I'd be watching for a pretty significant pullback. Nasdaq does have a valid potential double top on the 1 hour. Let's take a look at that. That might be, I think that's a little too far of a move right now. I think that's pushed up too far to be key. And that's a long way off from triggering anyways. That would be back below 14,042. So I will have to measure that out and we'll see if that's valid for something on the Twitter feed. Let's see what else we have. Russell also, harmonics that we put out last night. I mean, these things are, look at that nice little pause there at that first harmonic, this 2038. Pulling back just in front of this next harmonic. I'm watching for a pullback to this 2038 level and then the rotation higher. You want the next harmonic levels up, though, if you're trading the Russell, and we do get that nice rotation up. The next major level would be 2055. On a bigger pullback, I'm back to 2025 on the Russell. The DAX, again, bouncing up back through, we're talking about 14,300 through that. Now to that 14,359. Above 14,359, my next target, if the DAX rally continues, is to the 50 at 14, about 470. That's going to be some pretty significant resistance right there. Then above that, it will be a return to 14,550 area. Crude, don't have much going on, really pausing, waiting for those oil numbers to come out this morning. But there's just nothing going on. Everything's flat with the rotation zone. If there is a sell-off below yesterday's low, I would just use a quick target down to 100, which is where the 50 is. On a rally, it has to get above for me to be interested on a little short-term pop about 104.20. And then I'd watch for a return to about 107.20. Let's see. Gold continues this pullback, but trying to base here. So nothing really major. A quick little close back above about 1970 could be a long play back up. Silver, not much going on there. Continued sell off. My major support is about this 24.95 area that I'm watching. Notes finally looks like it's trying to bounce again against this harmonic, but now major resistance is 119.28. to about 119.23. So that's on any rally. That's what I'm watching for short term. And you can see already popping up to the 4-hour rotation zone and the prior support becoming resistance and rotating back down. If we do retest those lows, I'll be watching for a potential short-term double bottom pattern. Dollar index finally getting the reversal back to the daily rotation zone with a slight bounce. So if it drops below about 128, then I'll start watching for the bigger pullbacks. VIX, again, back below the 62.5. We'll be watching that on a closing basis, but intraday we could even collapse back down to these lows. Again, no fear in the market right now. So nothing that even on a pullback, this would just be a standard rotation pullback. Let's see where else we sit. We'll check in on Tesla. Remember, Tesla earnings after the close today. So continue to trigger the horizontal channel breakout. Next target's 1046.50, roughly 1058, and then 1070 to the upside. The only reversal pattern would be back below about 972 then, because that would take it back below the 50 and trigger. That would then trigger if it reversed intraday or with earnings would be a shake and bake pattern with a quick target back down to 928. Let's see what else. You think Facebook is the next Netflix? We will see. We shall see. Yeah, Netflix down 99, down 28%. We can peek in at the pre-market chart all the way down here. And my next key level I'm watching for support, if it rolls over in this morning, is 237 to 231. If we want to see what it's done, here it is. So there's your big drop with earnings still grinding down. So this is my next area I would watch for. Again, that would be a short-term little potential bounce play, not a long-term buy pattern. Why not a long-term buy pattern? There might be eventually a gap play on this, but let's just review for people trying to bottom pick a Netflix. Again, weekly rotation zone is negative. So on a rally, my key areas, here's the key areas if you're playing along at home, roughly about 263.50 and then 283.42. Major support you see here coming in right down here, this 231 to 237. Below that, and this is for longer term, below that longer term, that's your last major support level, which would be very bad for Netflix because the next support level after that is not, the next major support level is not down into the mid or 133 area. So this is the last little bastion of hope for at least a short-term play, but long-term, nothing doing with Netflix yet. Let's see. Looks like SPY, QQQ, and IWM have potential double bottoms on the 4-hour daily charts. We will get to those now. Again, if you're not following the Twitter, you should at this point. It's very, very sloppy, but completely valid on this. You see running up to those harmonics yesterday. Let me convert these to the double targets. Come on, don't be difficult. There we go. Double targets. So on the spiders, and let me go to the other side. Hold on one second. I'm going with the leave me alone. I'm going with the conservative targets on these. And look at that, 448.75, 450.50, and that's where the flat 200 is on the 4-hour, then 457.28. So those are the upside targets should you be playing the SPY to the upside. And again, you don't want it to drop below about 438. The Qs. Here are your Qs. Yep, you got a valid double, it looks like, roughly. Let's just see where that takes us on conservative targets. 347.42, not yet triggered. It needs a move above 347.42. If you're being very patient, it would be a 4-hour close above there. Then the targets are 352.14, 354.45, 358.80. So please do keep that in mind. See, coming back down, holding at this 62.5, and then rotating back up. So I just want to see if we reverse this also. Because remember, the 62.5 is very key level. And so this potential double, remember, it's a potential double. The Spider one has confirmed. The Nasdaq has not confirmed. But you still could be in here and it'd be in the rollover zone again. IWM. IWM is not a potential double because it's a triple. It's more of a horizontal channel at this point. We had the little mini double down here. There's a little mini double that's already completed from yesterday. So at this point, this would not be a double. This is a horizontal channel play with your gap still to the upside. Rough targets for that. Rough targets would be about 203. I just go to about 203.50, 205, and then 206.25. So those are the targets for the IWM. Let's just check in on the diamonds. Again, we had a little bottoming play yesterday intraday. You can see that little double bottom running up here and stalling out, and then running up to the harmonics. There are some great little plays in the diamonds yesterday. Let's see if there's anything else setting up. Not really anything strong. It would be more of a channel breakout, but there's the targets would exceed here. So the next target to the upside is about 352.70 for the diamonds. Other than that, there's no great pattern setting up today. So let's see. That's about it for all those things. Tesla will probably be big on bottom line guidance, not so exciting. If they guide strong with the Shanghai shutdown, it would be shocking. I know Shanghai's going to start ramping back up with reopening and the workers living on site, but that's going to still be limited production. I mean, Tesla numbers are Tesla numbers. So I doubt they're going to put in a miss. I haven't been watching if this stuff's been ratcheted down yet, been not paying as close attention as I normally do. Other than that, not seeing much else to talk about. Let's just peek back in on the S&P on a short-term basis. Again, holding now the top of the rotation zone, so a little short-term play because we got about an 8 minutes to the open. If that rotation back up and above this 44.80, that's the breakout play, the upside. If it breaks down below this little base, then I'm going back to those levels I already talked about. And Nasdaq broke its little base, but sitting at this 15-minute rotation zone, little sell-off in the open would be watching at this 225 area. With that, sorry I was out of the camera there a bit. I got to adjust that camera also. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, everyone. Again, we will have the overview this afternoon. We will check in on Tesla earnings and then figure out what to do for overnight and tomorrow and recap today's session. I will talk to everyone later today. By the way, stay tuned on the Twitter feed for more posting from Sterling, and I will talk to everyone later. Thank you, Wavy. Bye.